Hi friends, welcome to PSC Focus YouTube channel. ഹാർബർ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് ഗ്രേഡ് 2ലേക്കും ഗ്രേഡ് 3ലേക്കും PSC നടത്തിയ എക്സാമിൻ്റെ ഫൈനൽ ആൻസർ കീ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് അതിൻ്റെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഒന്ന് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, ബസാൾട്ട് ഈസ് ആൻ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഓഫ് വോൾക്കാനിക് റോക്ക്. ബസാൾട്ട് ഈസ് ആൻ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഓഫ് വോൾക്കാനിക് റോക്ക്. സെക്കൻഡ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, നിസ് ഈസ് ഫോംഡ് ഫ്രം ഗ്രാനൈറ്റ്. Gneiss is formed from granite. Third question, opaque glazing on a clay product done with the substance called slip. An answer. Opaque glazing on the clay product done with the substance called slip. Fourth question, mixing the brick earth with the ingredients in dry state is blending. Mixing the brick earth with the ingredients in dry state, blending. Fifth question, first class brick should have the crushing strength not less than 5.5 Newton per mm square ആണ് PSC ചൂസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന ആൻസർ. കാരണം ഓപ്ഷനിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്കത് മാത്രമേ എടുക്കാനുള്ളൂ. 5.5 മിനിമം നമ്മൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് ക്ലാസ് ബ്രിക്കിൻ്റെ ക്രഷിംഗ് സ്ട്രെങ്ത് ഏകദേശം 10.5 Newton per mm square ആണ് പഠിക്കുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ അതിനോട് അടുത്ത് നിൽക്കുന്നത് 5.5 ആണ്. യൂണിറ്റ് കൂടി നമ്മൾ നോക്കിയിട്ടാണ് ആ വാല്യൂസ് ചൂസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. Sixth question, in cement, lime saturation factor should not be greater than 1.02. Cement, lime saturation factor should not be greater than 1.02. Seventh question, maximum weight of insoluble residue in cement 5% ആണ്. Maximum weight of insoluble residue in cement is 5%. Mortar with bulk density over 22 kN per meter cube used as X-ray shielding mortar. Mortar with bulk density over 22 kN per meter cube is used as X-ray shielding mortar. Ninth question, the test commonly used for the abrasion test to determine the hardness or resistance to wear for aggregate in concrete is Los Angeles abrasion test. 10th question, water required for 1 bag of cement is 30 liters. Then the water cement ratio is. എങ്ങനെയാണ് വാട്ടർ സിമെൻറ്റ് റേഷ്യോ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുന്നത്? വാട്ടർ ടു സിമെൻറ്റ് റേഷ്യോ ആണ്. അപ്പം വാട്ടർ തന്നിരിക്കുന്നത് 30 ലിറ്റേഴ്സ് ബൈ സിമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ വെയിറ്റ് 50, അങ്ങനെയാണ് 0.6 കിട്ടുന്നത്. ദെൻ 11th ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ, ദ ഡിഫക്റ്റ് ഇൻ ടിമ്പർ വിച്ച് ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ് സോഫ്റ്റ് ടിഷ്യൂ ഓർ സ്കിൻ വിച്ച് കവേഴ്സ് ദ വൂണ്ട് ഓഫ് എ ട്രീ ഈസ് callus. The defect in timber which indicate soft tissue or skin which covers the wound of the tree is callus. 12th question, the thin layer of sap between sapwood and inner bark is known as cambium layer. The thin layer of sap between sapwood and inner bark is called a cambium layer. 13th question, a thermoplastic resin produced from ethylene from petroleum is. വിനൈൽ ആണ് ആൻസർ PSC കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. 14th question, PVCN number 4 paint used for prime coat on metal is 25 to 40. PVCN 4 paint used of prime coat on metals is 25 to 40. 15th question, the theoretical amount of water required for the lime slagging with the weight of calcium oxide is 32%. Theoretical amount of water required for the lime slagging with the weight of calcium oxide is 32%. Which type of pile is constructed by inserting a steel shell into the ground and then filling it with concrete, leaving the shell in place? Raymond pile. Which type of pile is constructed by inserting a steel shell in the ground and then filling it with concrete, leaving the shell in place is Raymond pile. 17th question, the course of stone masonry provided immediately above the cornice is blocking course. A course of stone masonry provided immediately above the cornice is called a blocking course. 18th question, in a brick noggin partition wall, what is the term used for the vertical wooden member that support the brick infill? Studs. In a brick noggin partition wall, what is the term used for the vertical wooden member that support the brick infill? Studs. 19th question, the most suitable lintel for a span exceeding 2 meter and carry heavy load is reinforced concrete lintel ആണ് ആൻസർ. 20th question, the line along which the resultant of all the force including self weight passes in an arch is called a thrust line. line along which the resultant of all the forces including self-weight passes in an arch is called a thrust line. The most suitable underpinning method for confined spaces and poor soil condition is micropile underpinning. The most suitable underpinning method for confined spaces and poor soil condition is micropile underpinning. 22nd question. A bond consists of heading and stretching cores so arranged that one heading cores come after several stretching cores is called a facing bond. 23rd question. In raking shoring, the inclination of rakers is generally 45 to 75 degree with the horizontal. 24th question. Which type of carpentry joint involves a slot across the grain in one piece and a matching projection in the another piece? Is mortise and tenon joint. 25th question. Which chemical is commonly used in anti-termite treatment in building? Chlorpyrifos. 26th question. The projection which helps in securing the head of a door frame to the masonry are called horns. 27th question. Which type of window is specially provided to supply light and air to an enclosed space located just below the roof? Dormer window. 28th question. Which type of floor is made by mixing marble chips with white or colored cement and then polishing the surface for a smooth decorative finish? Terrazzo floor. 29th question. The type of the truss commonly used for span varying from 5 to 9 meters, king post truss. 30th question. The uppermost horizontal structural member supporting the common rafter in a sloped roof is called ridge board. The uppermost horizontal member supporting the common rafter in a sloped roof is called a ridge board. Which is the habitable space on the roof of the building with or without toilet facilities? Bersati. Which is the habitable space on the roof of the building with or without toilet facilities is Bersati. 32nd question. What is the primary goal of a prospect in building design? To enrich outside view. Prospect എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും to enrich the outside view. 33rd question PSC ക്യാൻസൽ ചെയ്ത് കളഞ്ഞു. സോ നമുക്ക് നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ നോക്കാം. 34th question. According to the general fire safety requirement, what should be provided in a building with more than one story? Liberally designed and safe fireproof exit or escapes. 35th question. What is the recommended percentage of the total planned area that should be allotted for green belt according to the stipulations of MOEF? Is 33% ആണ്. Recommended percentage of the total planned area that should be allotted for the green belt according to the stipulations of MOEF is 33%. Who developed the first microprocessor? Ted Hoff. Which of the following is not a component of a computer-aided design package? Programming. What is the primary function of the title bar in AutoCAD? To show the name of the drawing currently used. What is the primary function of the title bar in AutoCAD? To show the name of the drawing currently used. What is the purpose of the AutoCAD in installation wizard? To contain all installation related materials in one place. Purpose of AutoCAD in installation wizard is to contain all the installation related materials in one place. What is the command used to highlight your marks? Revision cloud. REV cloud ആണ്. What is the command used to highlight your marks? Revision cloud. ഹാർബർ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് ഗ്രേഡ് 2 ആൻഡ് ഗ്രേഡ് 3ക്ക് ചോദിച്ച 40 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആണ് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തത്. ബാക്കി ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് നെക്സ്റ്റ് വീഡിയോയിൽ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തുന്നതാണ്. താങ്ക് യു ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്.